Ahead of the NPP's presidential primaries, various candidates have been selling their messages to the delegates. We'll bring you what they have been saying. There's many more coming up shortly. Now, to our first story, the ECOWAS Court of Justice has dismissed former Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo's application seeking temporary prohibition orders to halt the work of the committee that investigated her removal from office. The court also rejected a preliminary objection from the government of Ghana, which argued that the regional court lacked jurisdiction to hear the case. It will be recalled that Justice Torkornoo applied after the president constituted a committee chaired by Justice Gabriel Scott Powerman to inquire into matters that eventually led to her removal and the swearing in of her successor, Chief Justice Paul Baffour-Boni. However, in its ruling on Wednesday, November 19, 2025, the ECOWAS Court held that although the former Chief Justice had established a prima facie case alleging human rights violations, she failed to demonstrate the agency required for the court to issue temporary orders stopping the committee's proceedings. The judges noted that despite being suspended on April 2025, they were aware of the process. She waited 3 months before filing her motion, undermining her own claims of imminent or irreparable harm. As a result, the request for a prohibition order was dismissed. Now, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has issued a notice today addressing reports surrounding an application submitted by accused person Kenneth Ofori-Atta for the removal of his name from Interpol's Red Notice system. Here's the statement. In October 2025, the Commission for the Control of Interpol's Files notified Ghanaian authorities that accused Kenneth Nana Yaw Ofori-Atta had applied for the removal of his name from Interpol's Red Notice. The Commission requested Ghana's response to Mr. Ofori-Atta's application. Now, Ghana's response was duly submitted on 22 October 2025. By communication dated 7th November 2025, the Commission for the Control of Interpol's Files notified Ghanaian authorities that accused Kenneth Nana Yaw Ofori-Atta had filed additional arguments in an addendum, and the Commission requested Ghanaian authorities to file their response to Mr. Ofori-Atta's additional arguments by 21 November 2025. The proceedings are still pending, and the Commission for the Control of Interpol's Files is still studying the case. During the pendency of the proceedings, the applicant's name, image, and details are often redacted from public view until a final determination is made. The public is urged to disregard all publications to the contrary as born of mischief and misinformation. Away from that, President John Dramani Mahama has revealed that Cabinet has approved the Public Tribunals Bill, a move aimed at accelerating the prosecution of illegal mining cases across the country. Speaking during a meeting with the Christian Council at Jubilee House on Tuesday, November 18, 2025, the President said the new bill will empower public tribunals to handle galamsey-related offences, easing the pressure such cases place on the traditional court system and ensuring quicker, more effective and efficient justice delivery.
So far, we've arrested more than 1,700 people. The courts to even process these people is a problem. So many of them, we've been forced to grant them bail. And in some cases, when you go back to look for them, they've left the area. And so one of the things Cabinet did the last time was to pass the Public Tribunals Bill, so that we'll push issues to do with illegal mining to the public tribunals, because they would adjudicate faster and let justice be seen to be done. And as the tribunals have it, they have a judge, and then they have 4 other members who either have a legal background or are of a certain level of understanding of the law. And so if that comes, we would be able to process, these cases against illegal mining even quicker. There's another aspect to it. One of the main focuses has been to push the illegal miners out of the forest reserves. And so part of the focus has been the forest reserves, and then also mining on the water bodies. And so on the water bodies, they are seizing Shamfam machines, they are destroying them. We've said that any Shamfam machine they seize, they should destroy it so that it can be used again. And so that's another aspect of it. Then the next aspect, which the EPA just started, was to go to those who are providing the spare parts and the equipment to the illegal miners. Because if you're able to take a hold of that place, then they won't get the tools they need to go and do the illegal mining.
Still at the presidency, President Mahama says he supports the relisting of the anti-LBGT bill for debate in Parliament, insisting lawmakers should have a chance to make any needed amendments before it is passed. He added that once Parliament approves the bill and sends it to him, he will sign it.
The bill was submitted to the President for assent. So it was not submitted and the President did not assent. And by the Constitution, any bill that is not assented to by the President before the expiration of the life of Parliament expires. And so it means that the bill has to be relayed in the House. The Speaker has given notice that he will allow it to be relayed. But if you want the position of my government, marriage is between man and woman. A person's gender is determined at birth. And then also that the family is the foundation of our nation. That is our position. And so there are no questions or equivocations about what we believe. I believe that we are completely aligned with the Christian Council in terms of your belief. And so we agree with the Speaker to relay the bill and let Parliament, debate it. And if there are any amendments or whatever that have to be done. If the Parliament of the people of Ghana endorse the bill and vote on it and pass it, and it comes to me as President, I will sign it.
Also, President Mahama says his government will wait for the results of a full forensic audit into the National Cathedral project before deciding its future, underscoring the need for transparency, broad national consultation, and a realistic plan for funding. The president's remarks came after a courtesy call by the Christian Council at the Jubilee House. Council leaders urged the administration to renew its commitment to completing the cathedral, this time under a more accountable and inclusive framework.
Now, the issue on the National Cathedral. The National Cathedral Board of Trustees ordered an audit into the accounts of the National Cathedral. The audit was published, and there were some issues that bubbled out of the audit. But there are two kinds of audit. There's a normal audit that you yourself choose your auditor and ask him to come and audit you. And then he audits and presents the report to you. There's that kind of auditor. Then there's the auditor who is asked to come and do a forensic audit. And so we got a copy of the audit that had been commissioned by the Board of Trustees. And as President, I directed that a forensic audit be conducted. We want to know what happened. Before we go forward, we must know what happened. And so we're waiting for the report of the forensic audit. Once that forensic audit has been done, then we can decide what the way forward is.
Away from the presidency, Minister for Interior Mutanka Mubarak has launched the Ghana Amnesty Initiative, issuing a 6-week ultimatum to all individuals holding unregistered firearms, directing them to voluntarily surrender the weapons or risk severe sanctions.
As of July this year, the statistics from the CID and the Ghana Police shows that half of the year alone, we've already had over 600, and the exact number is 628 cases of armed robbery and 340 cases of murder. All of it people use violent means to achieve this, and the use of illicit arms. That is why, after a broad consultation with the Ghana Police Service, the National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons, and our security agencies, traditional leaders, religious organizations, and civil society, the government of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has resolved to declare a gun amnesty, a bold and compassionate initiative to reduce illicit firearms in our country. The gun amnesty program is a window of grace. It offers every law-abiding Ghanaian who holds an unregistered or illicit firearm the opportunity to surrender it without fear of interrogation or arrests or even prosecution. From the 1st of December 2025 to the 15th of January 2026, any person who voluntarily hands over such weapons at designated collection points will be commended, not condemned. You will be recognized as a patriot, contributing to the peace and safety of our nation. But let me be clear, when this amnesty period ends, the law will take its full course. The Ghana Police Service and all security agencies will intensify operations to recover illicit arms. Those who refuse this generous offer will be treated as criminals, and the consequences will be firm and uncompromising.
Well, let's go to the Parliament, where on Tuesday they resumed debate on the 2026 budget and economic policy as lawmakers on both sides scrutinize the government's fiscal plan ahead of approval. Our parliamentary correspondent Dominic Ansapra sat through and brought us this debate from the two sides of the House, beginning with submission from the MP for Wale Wale, Dr. Abdul Kabir Utia Mahama.
I'm reminded, but for the lack of another word, I think incompetence describes adequately the conduct before this House and the budget presented by the Minister responsible for Finance. I have no other word to romanticize the word incompetence. I mean, romanticize the word incompetence. I will need a word for that. And if I'm gathered...
Again, he said he inherited an economy that was in a mess. An economy that was in a mess left 1 trillion of GDP as against 219 billion Ghana cedis in 2016. An economy that was in a mess, Mr. Speaker. We left 4 months of import cover, close to $9 billion. An economy that was in a mess. Mr. Speaker, again, he also mentioned that the IMF program was derailed. That is not correct, and that is not true.
Today, we know that Terminal 2 is not working. We want to make sure that Terminal 2 works, and we will build a Concorde from Terminal 2 to Terminal 3. So you can actually come to Ghana through Terminal 2, and you need to transit through Terminal 3. You just board a Concorde, and you are in Terminal 3. We want to build multi-story car parks to ensure that when you are traveling, you have places to park your car, and you will not be missing your flight again. Kojo, you will not miss your flight like you did the last time.
Mr. Speaker, the zero rating that the minister talks about in respect of the textile industry is going to protect about 2,000 jobs. And if 2,000 jobs are protected, we are going to create work for the people, they are going to support their families, and they in turn will pay taxes to the state. So these are positive measures put in place in this budget. What we need from our brothers is that come and let's support the budget.
Inflation rate, we set a target of 11.9%. That's the target. And what do we have today? As of October, it's 8%. This is remarkable. You should applaud this government. Food inflation in 2017 or 2024 was 27.8%. The Speaker dropped down to 9.5%. Food inflation in this country. You know what food inflation does in this country. So we are going forward.
And the Finance Minister, Dr. Kasiola Toforson, has admitted that Ghana's petroleum resources have not yielded the full benefit as expected, stressing the need for a more critical and strategic review of the sector. Addressing Parliament, he outlined key changes proposed in the Petroleum Amendment Act aimed at strengthening regulation and ensuring the country gains greater value from its natural resources.
Speaker, Section 27(1) of Act 815 states that the resources of the Ghana Petroleum Fund and subsequently the Ghana Petroleum World Fund shall be invested in qualifying instruments prescribed by an executive instrument. The two further states that the range of instruments designated as qualifying instrument shall be reviewed every 3 years or sooner by the Minister on the advice of the Investment Advisory Committee. The Speaker, since 2011, this provision has not been adhered to. As a result, our petroleum resources, as invested, is yielding only about 1% in interest. The Speaker, unfortunately, our petroleum resources have not worked hard enough for us, and we believe that time has come for us to review how we invest this instrument. Right, Honorable Speaker, if you are to look at Section 39 of the same Act 815, it says that the Minister shall provide Parliament with any advice given by the Investment Advisory Committee within 7 days. The Speaker, on the 11th of November 2025, the Investment Advisory Committee advised me to take action by amending the qualifying instrument. And Mr. Speaker, what I like about this amendment is the fact that it made certain proposals. And the proposals are as follows. They said that we recommend a two-track approach to the amendment as follows. A, to retain the existing base of foreign investment grade sovereign instrument. So, Mr. Speaker, we are not running away from the existing base. He said retain it, but B, expressly include additional categories of assets subject to strict criteria and caps. Strict criteria and caps. And they said that we also clarify that any domestic instrument held by the Ghana Petroleum Funds does not constitute borrowings against the Petroleum Holding Fund or petroleum reserves in line with Section 5(2) of the amendment of the amended Act 815. Mr. Speaker, again, it says that this does not contradict Section 10(4), which provides that every 15 years, Parliament may review restrictions placed on the Ghana Heritage Fund and transfer accrued interest into any other funds established under the PRMA. Mr. Speaker, it went further to say that this will be subject to explicit.
Still in Parliament, they have approved a $10.46 million tax waiver for Tata Consultancy Services to implement the Integrated Tax Administration System for Project the Ghana Revenue Authority. The agreement will allow Tata to implement the Tax Integrated Administration System to improve compliance, expand tax base, reduce leakages, and enhance revenue from the digital economy. Here is the Finance Minister, Dr. Toforson, providing some justification after the minority raised issues with the waiver.
When Commissioner General Julie Esiam took office, Mr. Speaker, the new leadership of GRA awarded this contract on sole sourcing basis, even though there was a running competitive sourcing. Mr. Speaker, it did not stop there. About 1 month to the general elections, in fact, on the 4th of November 2024, an addendum was signed by Tata Consultancy Services Limited and GRA. And Commissioner General Julie Esiam signed on behalf of the GRA. Mr. Speaker, the details are as follows. It says that subject to approval provided by Parliament of Ghana, Tata Consultancy Service is entitled to 20% withholding tax exemption from 1st of January 2025 till the end date, as set out under clause 4 of the SOW. Mr. Speaker, it says that GRA shall be responsible and do all such act required for obtaining such approval from Parliament. Mr. Speaker, my principle still holds. My position on tax is unwavering. Mr. Speaker, I'm only doing my work. I'm only doing what I have been asked to do. Mr. Speaker, I thought my colleague would rather applaud me. Mr. Speaker, I did not only stop there. Mr. Speaker, let me tell you what I did again. Mr. Speaker, because the process of competitive sourcing was truncated, I asked the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority to further renegotiate the program. Mr. Speaker, in renegotiating it, this is the outcome. Mr. Speaker, accordingly, we were able to reduce the cost of software and related items from $25.3 million to $20 million, saving $5.3 million on one line alone. Mr. Speaker, I did not end there. I also negotiated downwards hardware and related items.
Well, away from Parliament to politics, former Vice President and NPP flag bearer, hopeful of the new Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has been touring the Volta and Oti regions with his message of unity in the party. Let us listen to what he has been saying about his tour of the region.
Well, our party is a broad-based party, and this is how it was formed from the very beginning. When the Avoidance of Discrimination Act was passed by the Nkrumah government, we had a group of parties from different regions. The National Liberation Movement by Bafose Ekoto from Ashanti, Northern People's Party with Dombo, Togoland Congress with SG Anto, the Anglo Youth Organization with Modesto Apalu, the Ganshifo Mokpe with Obechibi Lamte, Muslim Association Party. All of these parties came together, and that is what formed the United Party, and that still remains the heart of the MPP. We are not tribalistic inherently, that we are a united party, and so what we should look at is what unites us more than what divides us. Of course, from time to time you may have utterances that come in from people, but that is, to be expected in a very broad party. But at the end of the day, we should understand that we need unity as a party if we are to win the 2028 elections and other elections. They always say a house divided will not stand, and I think that we have to work towards unity. And when I campaign, I don't speak ill against anybody, I don't insult anybody, I don't talk down anybody. I am very conscious of the fact that when we finish, we will all have to come together and unite to go and fight for power.
And to some educational stories, it says Ghana Dangbe Professional Association, a non-governmental organization, are calling for more support for Mobile DA Basic School within the Greater Accra region. The association made the appeal when it presented uniforms for the pupils of the school to enhance teaching and learning. There is more in this report.
Pupils of the Mobile School in the Greater Accra region have been coming to school with tattered and torn clothes. The teachers of the school says this sometimes affects teaching and learning, as some of the pupils at regular basis refuses to attend the school because of torn dresses and lack of school uniforms. The Ghana Professional Association, knowing of the plight, decided to donate school uniforms to the school for onward distribution to the pupils to help aid teaching and learning.
We are expecting that other people may come to their aid Because if you see the school children, in fact, you see that some of them are even wearing mufti to the school. And then also, one thing that we want to beg the whole people in Ghana, not only Ghanaian people, but in Ghana, that they need more school rooms. So if they can come to their aid.
A member of the association, Victoria Boydoku, in an interview also lamented the poor infrastructure of the school. She also called on governments to increase the Gadangwe teachers in the school.
They need infrastructure. The building, for instance, is not enough. And then also teachers, Dangwe teachers. They need Dangwe teachers also. And then the Dangwe books, they need the books also. So we are taking a step to feed them with the uniforms first, because some of the uniforms are eyesore.
The Gadangwe Professional Association, as part of its benevolent activities, has a goal of empowering marginalized with the Gadangwe communities by providing vital resources to enable deprived communities in that capital thrive.
We are very much grateful to them that Oliver asked for more, so shall be expecting, and some aspects of the programs of the school, infrastructure, we need infrastructure to augment what exists.
We are happy they are here to honor their promise and give us the uniforms they promised. We are very grateful, and we would endeavor to put them on and show it off, to show how appreciative we are of what they've done for us, and we are still expecting more food.
Into entertainment, the 14th National German Culture Festival has been held here in Accra at the Goethe Institute. The festival provided a platform for cultural exchange among German language learners in Ghana. The festival celebrates German language and culture through on-stage performances by students, language competitions, and other activities like music, film screenings and games. It was a lively experience as enthusiastic young German language learners from schools across various regions gathered to compete at the festival. The event aimed at students learning German to exhibit their grasp of the language on stage through drama, songs, rap, dance and poetry. It witnessed students competing in 3 categories: beginners, intermediate and advanced.
Head of the language department in the Goethe Institute, Ghana. I've been doing this for 15 years, and today is the 14th time that we are celebrating the German Cultural Festival. The festival is supposed to make learners and teachers of German celebrate what they are doing. They are learning German in clubs all over Ghana. Even, in the north, in the south, in the west, in the east, everywhere in Ghana, there are German clubs.
It's my first time here, so I think it's cool, it's kind of great, and I hope to be a part of it next year. Okay, so far, I think my school is the best student I've seen so far, and then I think other students are also doing their best, but then I think my school is going to come first. Yeah.
Well, that's it for the news update on Good Afternoon Ghana. My name is Harriet Adi. Over to you, Desi.
Thank you very much, Harriet, for bringing us the news updates. I was going to ask if you've picked Okada before.
Oh, yes, I have.
You have? Okay. Did you put on your helmet?
Once, yeah. The other ones, I didn't.
You know what, sometimes when it gets difficult and you really have to get somewhere, there's so much traffic, they always come in handy. But, the situation is how Pragya, Okada, all of, the Abubuya, as they call it also, the regulation around them, and some of them, not exactly respecting the rules on the roads, and eventually getting into some accidents. We'll be talking about that on the show this afternoon. So, Harriet, take note of that.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, thank you very much. We're going to take a break now. When we come back, we have 2 conversations. As I mentioned, we're going to be talking about the 2026 budget, focusing on some allocations that were mentioned by the Finance Minister, Dr. Kizza Atuforsen, last Thursday, and also will focus on the conversation around the Okada riders, Aboboyers, the Praguiers, and the regulations on the road and how it leads to some of these road accidents that we have been seeing. So stay with us. We'll be back shortly to continue with the show.
Oh, Jose, and I mean, can any pan, Nasana, Michiana, what me? A drain I didn't quano, Kingdom Garlic Bitters. No, more benefiting. Me benefiting wine. Also, what told dear? Abrewa, the smile, our brand, Mishuve. One antique crown our bread. No Kingdom Garlic Bitters and any capsules. Nanya, what dear Bribia. Kingdom Garlic Bitters and the capsules. Assembly, a devil when I'm when I say,
send your name, wife, company one personal. Kingdom Ginseng Power Capsules, and tea. Say, see, I'm password.
Kingdom Ginseng Power Capsules. A many genius from Debefi, Abrebia. Obebia o de poor hauno. Edro bakupa wihiane tremendous capsules. Tremendous capsules. Esiesie uma uye obesima. Edro you benya bi obebia eton robia. Kingdom Herbal. No challenger.
Catch me. I didn't know when this assassin.
But say if one the home for Sonia Emperor and fear.
Ah, na you want him. And anything name fear.
As me to me a man in your best way, who bet to me a cool. Mr. Debbie.
Uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
The second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again? Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa, dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late?
Of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. Yeah, you go be the luckiest. Copy from Georgia be luckiest. From not the Pia she be luckiest. Yeah, you go be luckiest. Nobody know why you're luckiest. Everybody go be that luckiest.
That's Kwame.
Send your God apple boom. If you're poor, what's that? So would the coming of the son of man be.
Hey.
Is that his car?
Ha! Even now, your shadow the way designer.
I use my own mouth to reject him. Oh, this is my mouth. Look at that.
Kwame, my son. Now, tell me the truth. How did this all happen?
Oh, Mommy, simple direction. Mr. Good Luck no check me way.
Yeah,
man.
Easy car. Or dial star 712 hash.
The devil is a liar.
He picked his ticket and entered his lucky 5-digit number.
I'm his baby.
Oh, how romantic.
And he followed the prompts. Yes. And then boom, confirmation test.
One quick, pick 5 numbers for me, okay? I'm feeling like 7.
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompt and let destiny handle the
You see how they love you now?
Yo, do you have family permission? Before December, may release a motivational album. Patapa, my super.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
Okay, so welcome back to the show. This is Good Afternoon Ghana here on Metro TV. I am Desmond Okrekudanzo. We're streaming live on Facebook at Metro TV Ghana, DSTV channel 277, and of course on the multi-TV digibox. And you can listen to us live also on 94.1 FM. So we're going to be getting into a conversation I mentioned before the break, right? And it's about tricycle operations in this country. There's a call from the union. I will be focusing on that. But of course, you know that in many communities across Ghana, tricycle operations play vital roles in providing affordable transportation and, serving as a lifeline for many families in these communities. Particularly for me, I have lived in Cape Coast. So I know about this very much. I've used them quite a number of times in Cape Coast when I traveled to Tamale. Also, it was just a very nice means of movement here and there. So that's what you see on the screen. And so today we'll be talking about this union, and they are making a call to government for legalization of their operations and to regularize their works and all of that. So joining us in studio is Hamza Hafiz, who is the national chairman of the National Union of Tricycle Operators of Ghana. So he's joined us in the studio to help us understand the situation on the ground and what exactly they are calling on the government to do. So let's get right into it and speak to Hamza Hafiz. Hamza, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you so much, my brother.
Yes, good to have you on here. And a very interesting conversation. You are the chairman for the National Union of Tricycle Operators in Ghana. When was this union formed?
All right, thank you so much. I would like to take this opportunity to to say a very good afternoon to all your viewers and tricycle operators across the whole country.
Right.
Yes, NUTOC was put together 4 years ago.
Okay.
When we realized that the whole talk about legalization was all about Okada, which is motorcycles,
okay,
and tricycles was not really highlighted onto the limelight. So we also thought it wise to come together to also make our voices known to the general public and of course the government.
Right.
You bear me witness that in 2020 it was all about Okada, and people even mistaking all of us to be Okada.
Yeah, and that's one of the questions I'll be asking. I mean, if you could add that, what is because everybody says, well, Abubuya or Pragya, it's all bundled in as one. If you could give us the differences so we know which one exactly your union is about.
Right. We represent Pragya.
Pragya.
Pragya. In some regions, they call it Mahama Kandu. Others also call it Yellow. If you go to Kumasi, for example, in the Ashanti region, they call it Adedita.
Oh,
so
you using Kumasi also?
Yes. So
Mahama Kambu.
Mahama Kambu, and some call it Mahama Kandu.
Oh,
so
I hear because you're able to get your way around the English. We know Mahama Kambu.
Yeah, so these are some of the things. So we are dotted all across the country,
right,
and like I said, when it comes to tricycle, our operations, we have similarities and differences as far as we and Okada are concerned. Tricycles, we take about 3 to 4 passengers.
Right.
Okada takes 1 passenger, which is just a motorcycle. Also, tricycles, we don't use helmets, but some new tricycles has come into the system by a company called Apsonic. So for them, they are required to also wear a helmet. If not that, the one with the glass do not need a helmet. Okay. And our risk levels too are not the same. Of course, motorcycle can easily, you can easily move away with it than tricycle. Tricycle speed limit cannot be the same as a motorcycle speed limit.
That's one.
So
I have my questions I would ask about.
Right, you can. That's why I'm here today.
Okay.
So we have quite a good number of differences and similarities as well. The similarities has to do with the same law that bars us from operating commercial, also bars them from operating commercial. So when it comes to the agenda, we have the same agenda of legalization.
Right.
But when it comes to our operational challenges and all that, there are some differences to our operations.
And since the union was birthed, you said 4 years ago.
Yes.
what are the numbers like in terms of membership?
We have now registered 97,000 roughly on our data, and then we are also trying to digitalize the data. So I'll be sharing some of the numbers with you, those who have been migrated onto our digital platform, which was developed, a platform that was developed for us by DataMonk. So you can have a look at it.
Okay, so I see that from your phone.
Okay.
But I want to ask, which regions do these members come from? For now, how many regions have you captured?
We have representation in all the 16
all
regions
the 16
in Ghana.
Regions?
Yes. And we can give you regional breakdown of each and every region. And the membership is still ongoing because we are trying to help government to formalize the space. And that is one of the major reason why we are advocating, calling on the government to fast-track the legalization process. We hear people talk about irresponsible driving, reckless driving, abusing of drugs, and all those kind of things. What I always ask myself is that as a country, assuming there was no laws in the country, how do you expect people to,
Right. No, go ahead.
How do you expect people to behave? So where there are no laws regulating an activity, you will definitely have some of these things happening.
Okay.
So if we come out with regulations and regulations to contain the operations, believe you me, we will partner with government to ensure that there's sanity in the system.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you say across the country, you have members all over.
Yeah.
And you're going digital with the data, as you talk about. But you'd agree with me that there are also persons who are not exactly semi-literate or illiterate who are engaged in this business. How have you been able to roll them on to be able to account that they're all members?
If you can take your question once more.
I'm saying that you're trying to do a data thing and trying to get everybody on board, right?
Sure.
But definitely, to be able to do that and let people understand why you're going digital, there's supposed to be some level of understanding. And not everybody who is part of or who operates a tricycle understands this and maybe could be accounted for as members of your union. How have you been able to get those who do not understand, the essence of digitalization, or those who are not, or those who are illiterate, that's the right word to use, to get them on board to understand what you're trying to do as a union?
Well, it's a union direction or we have all collectively agreed to have the numbers, because no serious organization will take you seriously if you don't have data to back the numbers that you are talking about.
Right.
And so we decided as a union that there's the need for us to collate our membership so that when we are talking to any institution or any government agency, we can report the right figures to them. And that was why we took up this initiative to do this. And so it's a link that we share among the members across various leadership levels, both region to the zonal level, for them to assess the members to get themselves registered. It's a centralized dashboard, and when they sign up with the link, their names pop up to the national data. So we can now share it with the region and the region to the zonal.
Great. Yeah. It's a good move to try and get government to legalize your operations. But as a union, you must definitely have seen some of the complaints about the operations of some of your members. When I was in Cape Coast, we always had issues with these riders, and from Kotokraba getting to the Pedu Junction, the kind of speed they come with to initiate the curve, they always toss over, and all of those things. How are you trying to make sure that the understanding of the work they are doing is there, so that we do not have a lot of these? And what have your findings been also as you try to reach government?
First of all, the capacity to ensure sanity, we are limited in terms of power. Because if we don't get the effective collaboration from local authorities, we will have a limited power to be able to do what you are asking us to do now. But in our own small way, we sensitize the people. Just some few weeks ago, We just returned from the Upper East region. We are doing a nationwide sensitization tour where we are educating our members on the government regulations that are coming up. I was fortunate to be part of the Ministry of Transport delegation to Kigali. And then we went there to understudy the Rwandan government's transport framework in terms of how they are able to manage this motorcycle, commercial motorcycles, to be able to, to be able to perform. And so when we returned, 30-member committee was put together, and fast forward, we've not heard anything anymore from the government until recently when the transport minister announced that he has gotten cabinet approval for the bill to be laid before parliament. So if we don't get the appropriate authorities backing us and throwing their weights behind us and making sure that we're able to lobby everybody under the umbrella.
Okay, I think we would have to get you someone there to play your If you just joined us, we're talking to Hamza Hafiz, who is the national chairman of the National Union of Tricycle Operators in Ghana. Let's take a break. We'll be back shortly. So in your shots there, you saw some of the tricycles over there. And trust me, sitting in it is quite a joy. Right? If you have a freeway, you know, the air around you, you just enjoy that. But of course, it comes with some other risk, and that's what we're talking about. That is the obedience for traffic regulations is one key thing that a lot of people do complain about these tricycle riders. And also when it comes to overloading these tricycles, they should be taking how many people?
Well, we normally take 3 at the back, and in some instances we add 1 in front. And the reason is because of the amount that we are required to pay our daily sales. We do 100 cedis, some do as much as 150 Ghana cedis a day.
Okay.
And so it's quite involving. So if you want to, you know, take just 2 passengers at the back, you might not be able to meet up with your sales.
And do you have a particular type of tricycle that should be used? Because I've seen one that the rider is in the middle and could have 1 on the left, 1 on the right, or different types of the tricycle.
Yeah, it depends on the model, and of course the front we don't really encourage the 2 passenger taking because of the risks involved in it. But like I said, you see, all these things boils down to the regulation. Of course, if government is really interested in sanitizing the space to ensure that it adds up to the transport system in the country, believe you me, we can easily sanitize the space. We have situation in this country whereby local authorities pretend as if things don't exist, but they are. For example, the influx of tricycles in this country, I can tell you on authority, tricycle was first introduced by a government agency in this country through Maslock. Yes. Maslock brought the first tricycle into this country. But politics has bedeviled this country to the extent that when it was brought into the country, I'm sure there was a very positive idea behind it, or intentions behind it. And so fast forward, government changed hands. Another government don't want to have anything to do with it. And it has been there, and they allow it to continue to come into the country in containers. People bring it, businessmen bring it, you know, to sell it to us. You don't quote them the law that it is illegal. You allow me to buy this tricycle as a citizen to use for work. Of course, there are no jobs. So this is a viable way I can use to sustain myself and my family. And yet, when I buy it as a citizen to do something, to earn something, then the law is being quoted to me that you are not supposed to use it for commercial purpose. You allow me at the mercy of unscrupulous police officers, some unscrupulous police officers, and some assembly task forces to exploit me.
How have you engaged the assemblies?
Yes, it's some of the assemblies are doing well. Others are just not ready to comply or to cooperate with us. And what I always ask myself is, you see this machine that you allow into the country. Of course, it passed through our port.
Yeah.
And you allow it to come into the country. What was your mind in allowing this into the country? Does it look like a private car for you to tell me to use it for private purposes? Obviously not. So if this thing doesn't look like a private car and I used it for the purpose with which it was made to be used for, then I am being harassed every left, right, center, just because society have failed to put laws to contain it when it was coming in.
And also because some of your members have decided to, what's the word?
I know what you are trying to say.
You know where I'm getting
yes,
from,
but
right?
Assuming this country was without laws, do you think we'll have a peaceful system?
So you believe that there should be laws to be able to...
Simple as that. That's why the regulations are necessary.
Okay.
So it is in our interest as a country to support the government to legalize and regulate it than to say no to it.
In this particular move on calling on the government, who have you spoken to? Has there been any move? What's been the action so far?
Just like I told you, this government have made some effort.
Okay.
We went to Rwanda, like I told you, came back, 13-member committee was put together, but fast forward, it's been silent. We feel that this is a flagship government promise, and it should be taken seriously. At least since this government came into power, some regulations have been passed already. We are in this country, they are passing bills, day in, day out. So such importance that has been applied to some of these bills should equally be applied to this, because this is a major flagship promise which we bought into, and we are expecting that kind of urgency from policymakers. And one thing that I also like to talk about is the issue of consultation. We need to be part of the process, though they have involved us to some extent, but we feel we can still have a viable input as far as these things are concerned. And let me also share this thing with you.
Go on.
Governments can only succeed in this if they tax the district assemblies to be responsible. Because every law that is passed, regulating tricycle, whatever, we operate in various district assemblies. And some of them are just not ready for this. You will find an MC sitting in the office whose mindset and way of doing things it looks like they are not in line with the government directive to legalize this thing. They just don't want to even engage
some
us.
assemblies do not want to...
They are posturing, do not even want to collaborate.
Okay.
They just treat us anyhow. And you end up creating more problems. As I speak to you right now, tomorrow there's going to be a demonstration in Kumasi.
A demonstration?
Yes, tricycle operators have been complaining for far too long.
That's what's wrong. What's happening?
The issue is that the past administration banned our operations at the Central Business District. And when it was banned, we made efforts to engage them. Okay? But all those efforts proved futile. They never gave us attention.
Okay.
Then another government comes into office, which we thought this would have been, things would have been better. We made effort to reach out with the new leadership at the assembly. No way out. We've written petition, submitted it to the regional minister. Until now, he has never called us to even engage us to know exactly what the content is. Of course. The assembly has closed their door, and the regional minister, who is supposed to be the father of the region too, has also not given us the opportunity to engage. So if we turn here no hope, the streets there is for everybody.
So tomorrow you are demonstrating?
Yes, we are going to be on the street tomorrow to register our protest. Of course, we've gone through the right processes. We are law-abiding citizens. We will not do anything vandalize or to compromise the peace of this nation. Our members over there have engaged the police authority, and all the routes that they are going to use has been, agreed upon. And tomorrow they will have a peaceful protest to submit a petition to the assembly, and also to submit a petition to the regional coordinating council to look into it.
Okay.
Because all that we are asking for is simple, my brother. If the reason for stopping our operations at the Central Business District is for congestion, we are ready to, sit with you.
Come to a compromise.
Come to a compromise. At least let us go in badges. If you want to even uniform them in groups, take proper data of them, because our services are still needed there. The people in there need our services. Okay. So if that is the only reason, which I don't think it is, then it is solvable. But just getting up and say, hey, don't move here, don't move there. And for all you know, if you pick the receipt, the invoice of a tricycle, look at the price involved, about 43,000, 42,000 Ghana cedis per one tricycle, which is the Bajaj.
That's how much one tricycle costs?
Yes, 420 million.
Hey.
That's Bajaj. And out of this, close to 8,000 are taxes. That goes to government.
Okay.
So is it not fair to treat us fairly?
So it means that as soon as possible you want to hear from government on
they
this.
should take us serious. We are youth of this country. Okay. Of course, this particular tricycle, like I told you the numbers that are involved in it, if we are not handled well, and many of us pack our tricycles and decide to go in and join our colleagues to do galamsey, do you think we are going
for that? It shouldn't even happen.
That is what I'm saying. So most of these galamsey boys see it as a viable option.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
They see it as a viable option, and this can also be made more attractive. So, for example, if government decide that he will call on he will ensure that the assemblies give us parking spaces, in other words, terminals, where you just allocate a place like a small tricycle station and model it as a model terminals across the country. We have a sample, a clear-cut sample that we are even trying to call on private partnership to come on board. Let us model it for government to see. And then these laws can be applied there.
Hamza Hafiz, thank you very much for coming. He's the national chairman for the National Union of Tricycle Operators of Ghana, and they're calling on government to listen to them. But tomorrow he says that there's a demonstration happening in Kumasi. We'll be following that keenly and see what happens with us. So thank you very much for your time in here.
Thank you so much.
And to all the operators, please be careful. Be careful. We love to use the tricycles, but sometimes the way they operate the things, it gets us fearing a little bit. But you're still watching Good Afternoon Ghana here on Metro TV. We're taking a break. When we come back, we're talking about the 2026 budget. Stay with us, surely.
Branch manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
West Africa's soil yields global treasures. Cocoa, cashew, shea, and cotton. They power industries across the world. Yet for our region, the greatest value still slips away, exported raw, taking with it jobs, industries, and the promise of shared prosperity. The real question is no longer what we produce, but who captures the final reward. True prosperity lies in the value we add right here at home. That's why the 4th edition of the EBIT President's Roundtable will gather the architects of Africa's prosperity and Africa's transformation to answer one defining question: how do we finance the journey from the farm to the port? Join Dr. George Ejikum Donko and some leading experts as EBIT leads a high-level dialogue to unlock financing, empower local industries, and turn West Africa's raw potential into industrial power. Be part of the conversation redefining our economic future, live on Metro TV, DSTV Channel 277, and EBIT platforms on November 24, 2025 at 11 a.m. EBIT President's Roundtable 2025, from the farm to the port, financing the value chains of West Africa's cash crops. My name is Anita Erskine, and it will be an honor to host you.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
The second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa, dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late?
Of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. Go be the luckiest, go be from Georgia be luckiest, from not the cause she be luckiest. Me and you go be luckiest. Nobody know why you're lucky. Everybody go be the luckiest.
That's Kwame!
Send your God the apple boom. If you're poor, what's that? So would the coming of the son of man be. Is that his car?
Ha! Even now, your shadow the way designer.
I use my own mouth to reject him. Oh, this is my mouth. Look at that.
Kwame, my son. Now, tell me the truth. How did this all happen?
Oh, Mommy, a simple dilation. Mr. Good Luck no chemi way.
Eh?
Yeah, man.
Easy kwa. Or dial star 712 hash.
The devil is a liar.
He picked his ticket and entered his lucky 5-digit number.
I'm his baby.
Oh, how romantic.
And he followed the prompts. Yes. And then boom, confirmation test.
One quick, pick 5 numbers for me, okay? I'm feeling like 7.
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompts and let destiny handle the
You see how they love you now?
Yo, do you have family permission? Before December, may release a motivation album. Patapa, my super.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caribbean.
On the revenue side, government would dip.
When Commissioner General Julie Esiam took office, Mr. Speaker, the new leadership of JRA awarded this contract on sole sourcing basis, even though there was a running competitive sourcing. Mr. Speaker, it did not stop there. About 1 month to the general elections, in fact, on the 4th of November 2024, an addendum was signed by Tata Consultancy Services Limited and GRA. And Commissioner General Julie Esiam signed on behalf of the GRA. Mr. Speaker, the details are as follows. It says that subject to approval provided by Parliament of Ghana, Tata Consultancy Service is entitled to 20% withholding tax exemption.
Our growth is now powered by domestic production. Mr. Speaker, the service sector remains the heartbeat of recovery, surging 8.8% with ICT up 17.2%, finance and insurance up 9.5%, and education up 14.9%. Agriculture, the backbone of stability, also grew by 6%, doubling that of last year. Mr. Speaker, cocoa rebound from a sharp 21.4%, contracting to 2.8% growth. About 10.4 billion Ghana cedis in claims were rejected. Mr. Speaker, due to duplications, recycled IPCs, inflated invoices, falsified stores receipts advice, and instances of no work but demanded money. Right, Honorable Speaker. Out of the rejected amount, about 1 billion Ghana cedis, comprising BTAs, bank transfer advices, that had already been processed by the Ministry of Finance. Mr. Speaker, I'll give an update on sovereign credit ratings. Right, Honorable Speaker, all three major international rating agencies have upgraded Ghana's, affirming new faith in our macroeconomic management. In June 2025, Fitch lifted Ghana from restricted.
Okay, so welcome back. You're watching Good Afternoon Ghana. I am Desmond Okrekudanso, and we're on until 2 p.m. We're live on Facebook, Metro TV Ghana, DSTV channel 277. You can join us on there and also on the multi-TV digital box. We're also live on 94.1 FM. So there you had the Finance Minister, and we will be taking a look at a number of things that he's mentioned in the budget. Of course, Mr. Okanse was here all through that. That day was quite a very long one. We have him back here join us, and we'll get right into it and introduce our guests to you this afternoon. But of course, you can join in with your comments on all our social media handles at Metro TV Ghana. So join us is Geoffrey Okanse. He's Executive Director for Revenue Mobilization Africa and a friend of the station and the show. Welcome, Mr. Okanse.
Thanks for having me. I'm honored to be with you.
Yeah, it's good to see you again. And of course, one man that we've been trying to speak to, I think last week we tried connecting with them, but today he's joining us here in the studio. Dr. Julius Jima is Executive Director for the Center for Policy and Economic Analysis. Doc, welcome to the program. Fantastic. I know Mr. Okanse has probably said his opening remarks about the budget from Thursday when it was here. So, Doc, prepare, I'll be coming to you. But before we get into this, though, you heard the president talk about yesterday the Christian Council went to visit him, and the Christian Council says they should continue with the cathedral. Do you think that we should continue pushing our money in that project?
I think it's actually a call. Okay. As the father of the nation, I think he will hear it, and then he will juxtapose their call with the stance of other people in the country. Personally, I think it's actually not out of place to build a cathedral. If you listen carefully to Ghanaians had nothing against the building of a cathedral. The average Ghanaian had nothing against the building of a cathedral. The fact that the step one was to move and go and destroy certain buildings that were built in less than 5 years was question one. Why would you want to break those buildings? The other thing was you had other lands around the place. These were government lands that you were selling out. So the same size of land you had. Look at the clearance of the DVLA area all the way to Opebia House. That big land over there, that could have housed the cathedral. If you moved, cathedral is a serene environment. Yeah. Don't confuse it with what you are seeing at Asylum Down. In the day when that cathedral was built, that area was a very quiet, nice area. Okay? So if you wanted to build a cathedral, just next to us, Dodowa, Apollonia, Oyibi, I mean, the enclaves, there are lands there. You could have gotten lands that were going to be value cheaper than this one in a very nice, serene environment where the trees were already there waiting for you. Rather than coming to dig trees and then take them to Parks and Gardens yard and then you come and replant them. Look, it was, excuse me to say, a wasteful endeavor. So indeed, the issues were the wastage and then the corruption, the unaccountability, and the lies. You see, I, on my Facebook page, talked about the lies on even God. I mean, you come and lie to God that you are building a cathedral and dig a pit. So the issue is, if you want to build a cathedral, I want us to recoup whatever we have lost through this one that I won't call a cathedral. The pit digging We should take our money and then relocate. Even half of that money can start a cathedral somewhere outside Accra.
Okay. Dr. Zima, I want us to look at it from and that's very quickly though, on what we're supposed to get out of it as a country, the monetary aspects of it. Do you think we still can get it if we continue with the building of this cathedral?
I think most definitely yes. If you look at the circumstances surrounding the objective of the cathedral, I think that aside the place of worship, it was going to act as, other things.
The tourist attraction.
Yeah, tourist attraction, Bible museums.
Yes.
In fact, for Ghana, we haven't gotten any a hall that has that huge capacity. There was this argument that even we can have our Independence Day celebration and then to some extent swearing in of our president. So I believe there were other factors that could have fetched in the money. Some countries have got, I think Cote d'Ivoire has got something like that. Nigeria have got some, even Brazil. So I think it's something that as a country, maybe we should have extended the conversation much better, like my brother was saying, and then look at the proximity issues as well. Everything is concentrated in Accra. If you climb the Erie Mountain and you scan Accra, it looks as if the whole country, Ghana, everybody wants to live in Accra. So that is how bad our planning has also become. And I think that is why people were talking about the fact that the area and then demolition of, buildings that was already, existing there and all that. But I think, yes, just my brother was saying, as a father of the country, the president has an opportunity to look at all the circumstances surrounding it and see whether the country can commit some resources and then make sure we can have that edifice, not only the name cathedral, but for the other benefit that the country can derive out of it. I believe the whole concept was a good one. And then once we put everything together, we can materialize or achieve the dream that the cathedral ought to have served the nation. I think it's something that we can also look at it again.
Well, and staying with that particular program, when the Christian Council went to the president has said that cabinet has endorsed a tribunal or public tribunals bill to expedite Galamsey cases. Good one.
Galamsey cases.
Yes. So this is a special one to just make sure that the Galamsey cases move as fast as they can.
This Galamsey thing, it's deep rooted. I think that we should really situate it proper in terms of context, and we shouldn't hasten in trying to put people behind bars or arrest people. That would not bring solution to Galamsey.
You think we shouldn't?
I mean, we should, but the idea of establishing these tribunals and fast-track cases to arrest and then make sure that, Ghanaians, sometimes we just want to see the actions part. Yes, we've done this, we've done that. But like I said, it's a deep-rooted problem that it goes beyond just putting up these tribunals, and then when cases goes to the court that we should, look into Galamsey issues, they fast track their cases and arrest our brothers and sisters. The reason what I'm saying is that as we speak, whether we like it or yes, it's providing alternative source of jobs or livelihood for our people. And it is you and I, our brothers, our cousins who are doing the job. Some of them are bringing money to the house. Some of us are contributing to economic activities in the area and employing people. The president just said when he met the press that, there are about 1 million people or so, more than that, in the issue of Galamsey or illegal mining. Even if we want to arrest all of them, our prisons cannot house them. That is a fact, because already our prisons are choked. So we need to have a deeper conversations like we are now discussing the cathedral and make sure what do we want to achieve out of Galamsey. I've already said that now currently the government is using the gold to be able to back our currency and stabilize our city.
Right.
That is what the government is doing now. So if we really want to continue on that direction, then we have to have that discussion or prioritize every arrangement or agreement surrounding these Galamsey operations. We've talked about licensing regime, we've talked about access to lands and all that. Our chiefs also becoming part and parcel of the whole process, because before you can take a commodity out of the land, you definitely have to visit the chief palace for them to give you a permission, because it is their land that you are going to destroy. Reclamation process is something that we've not looked at it. So when our people go go to the forest, they deplete the forest and leave it behind. When they take the commodity or the mineral out of the land, they are good to go. They just sell it and then, they are out of the place and they go to a new arable land and then what? Destroy it. Let's not forget that Galamsey operations or the gold itself, for me, is also competing with another commodity which is giving us foreign cash, which is gold. And one destroys the environment, one protects or acts as a cover for the environment. So I believe we have to have this conversation and see which of the commodities, yes, we have gold in abundance, but the way we are doing it at this particular time, is something that we want to sustain it in that particular time. And then when that is done, maybe the president can look at the other issues to solve the problems, and then not only having the court system addressing the issues, because the people, they are immune to court and arrest and all that.
The president says that those who be arrested will help in the planting, yes, the reclamation. So that's what the president says also. But you were making a point, and I was just saying that in my head that, I mean, of course, if that's their livelihood, that doesn't mean it should be at the expense of the environment, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you see, there are several conversations that have arisen as a result of how they are going to do their mining. There were mining laws that, they said you should not mine behind a certain radius to water bodies because we need our water resources as well. But the control part, there have been efforts by successive government to put task force to go into the forest and try to make sure that our people are doing it in a way that will not harm the environment. But what have we achieved out of it? And the simple question is that because it gives money to the state and it gives money to our politicians, it becomes a convenient way of doing it, and the people are not scared any longer. Let's face the realities. If it's time for elections, these are the same people that fund political activities in the area. And they are very, very resourceful. They have the money, they have the cash. If you go, they will show you cash. So the issue is that if all these things are generating income for them, and now they are very equipped, they are highly connected as well. If these things come up, I believe that it in the long term will not be sustainable. But what we really want to get out of our mineral resources, out of our mining, we've been mining. I listened to Otunfe and he said that his great-grandfathers were mining. In fact, if you listen to our history, Elmina in itself was a mine thing. I mean, gold was along the seashores and they were picking it like that. My town, we used to do mining. When it rains, you don't need to do deep mining. You pick diamond on the floor, on the surface of the earth. So we're just doing surface mining. But it's gone beyond that. The issue of government started this whole community mining, regime and the licensing regime. First, it was these corporate entities that were doing the mining, and for them, they are controlled. But when you leave a certain people, of our own people to just go, and the issue is that we are not creating other jobs for them that will incentivize them to now look at those areas. That is the problem.
That's what the problem is.
Now, the money they earn on their field, government cannot pay them. That is the issue and the reality.
I guess for, and Mr. Okanse, the core, or what the president says, that the Public Tribunals Bill is taking effect, Cabinet has accepted it, is due to the fact that there have been a lot of arrests, and the conversation is, we've seen a lot of the arrests, what has happened to them, and even for knowing that there are higher powers of authority who are, in quotes, funding the operations of these people. But we haven't seen, since everything began, we haven't seen even one of these bigger people.
My dear brother, before I go into the discussion, let me tell you what it is. You are against electoral violence. Are they not sponsored by politicians? Don't rich people sponsor them? The issue of Galamsey, nobody should tell me that it's because there are big wigs behind them, we should tolerate it. Now let me tell you what. The definition must come first. Let's define something well. The Gather and Sell Act, Gather and Sell, was actually the ones that my brother spoke about. They pick from the gutters, they take from the normal places, and they go in there. It even precedes the nation Ghana. Okay, my brother? Yes. I understand it well. So the Gather and Sell was this one, we understood it. Then, now let's talk about what they are calling Galamsey today. The Galamsey today, where we see some of them doing illegal mining.
Yes.
We have two phases, on the land and in the waters. Now, let everybody Ghanaian note this. Anybody who is fetching gold in the water is not my brother. Bro, with great respect, I beg you, I don't see anybody like that as my brother. Because even in the international convention, when countries are at war, in fact, when Russia and Ukraine are at war, there is an international convention that bars any of the countries from poisoning the waters of the other. How much more the one I live in the country with to go and put mercury and cyanide in the water, and you say they don't have jobs, you have to poison me because you don't have jobs. So you have to pick a gun and come and rob me because you don't have jobs. That's your excuse. You are giving room to the Admiral to come and tell me that he also, because he was born in a village where there was no prospects and there was nothing to do. Let me tell you, in those communities there were farms. They sold out cocoa farms.
Yes, cocoa farms to
come and do. Yeah. So you see, on the land we'll discuss it. In the water, let's agree right now from today, every day, any other time. No person born of a woman should think that it is an option because they don't have any work to do. But what are you saying?
So you definitely agree with this?
In the water, they should. Why have we ever said that because of the jails are full, we can't arrest armed robbers again? Did you ever hear that?
Well, we're going to
crime is crime. So if they do that, put them in jail. I don't have listen. I don't have the pinch of empathy for anybody who is in the water mining gold. You are poisoning me. You are making things worse for all of us. Plants, look, children are born without hands and legs. They are deformed. As we speak right now, the water company is pouring dozens of chemicals to treat the water that you are destroying. So that one, in fact, my only ending statement on that side of water, don't go there. There's no discussion.
So definitely,
go to jail.
The public tribunals bill.
Public tribunals should be there. You go into the waters, you should be jailed. Now let's talk about the on-land one. That is where we can have a discussion. The on-land one, the alternative is actually to have them in groups. You know, the previous government did something. They were getting them in groups. Just like they had a well-defined small-scale mining. They were trying to get even those who are not having the financial muscle to be in groups, so that they will do that artisanal mining in those groups.
Yes, I remember that.
Let's move it to the next level and have our task forces in place to be a bit permanent. And the next thing to do is to have continuous dialogue. That's why you can sensitize them that we are giving you still want to do the mining. And like he rightly said, he had the answer. The answer is that the money they actually are enjoying right now, you cannot create alternative employment for them. It barely will you be able to create for them. Some of them, the machine operators, are taking about 8,000 or 9,000 a day.
Yes.
So if 9,000 a day, and even don't add Saturday and Sunday, multiply by 20 days, can you pay such a person? Which office in Accra will pay them?
To find other jobs for them, that would.
So let them stay in their mining. Water outlawed, land accepted at very well designated areas. And let me tell you what. Finally, I'll tell you this thing. Let's repeal. As for the act, the LI 2462, let's repeal it. Nobody should go into our forest. The forest is a reserve that will give us money.
Yes.
Now, the final thing I'll tell you is that what we are seeing as a problem today is actually a job creation area, like my brother rightly said. And the president has also mentioned that he's going to go ahead and make sure when you are caught, you will be in the place to do community service or reforming the land that you destroyed. So it's the land business we are going to be chatting about. When you are actually caught doing Galamsey, he says you want to. What I'm thinking about is, look, this problem has a solution that will even become very profitable. If you were able to get them to do it in the groupings and properly monitor them, what you can now do is that when they finish destroying the land, in fact, any form of mining will destroy the land. It will deform the land. Okay?
Yes.
Reforming the land is another job.
That's another thing to do.
So if you are properly monitoring them, whatever amount, the money is gotten from gold, huge amount we are talking about here. Okay? So if you get percentage of it sitting down, the NAPCO and groups that you were forming, you get all of them back again, engage some of them again to come and reform the land. And they'll be reforming, some time ago somebody came up with the fact that marijuana reforms the land, grows its roots, blah, blah, blah. You can do that and then export, in fact, some of the marijuana and keep some of the marijuana into industries to produce pomade and the rest, hair food and everything. You have what you are calling a problem today. And I'm telling you, what you see as a problem is actually a big industry. If you exploit it to the fullest, the value chain is going to give you. Where are the blacksmiths? Because people were smuggling their gold and we didn't have a proper value chain in place, Now go to Arabaka, they are no more there. When I was younger, I used to see them with their fire, poofy, people changing their ornaments. Where are they? So if you put a system in where you have a good value chain, they will bring their gold. Gold board is waiting for them. Look, Gold board is a very wonderful and excellent initiative, but it was actually a call that has been answered. You remember I came to your studio, talked about reports that suggested that 88 billion worth of gold, 88 billion leaves Africa through illicit financial flows. So when we were crying, people didn't listen. In 2018 alone, gold that left Ghana to UAE was 7 billion in their books. In our books, we had recorded 2 billion. So 5 billion worth of gold had left Ghana without being recorded. We had lost taxes on such an amount. That was what was recorded. What about the ones that left not going to the UAE? So it tells you that Gold Board is actually reaping from all the reports and the good news that we're telling them that turn this bad news into good news.
There's a leakage somewhere.
In fact, this was not a leakage. This was a big hole. That is why you are in no time, you are recouping all these monies. So it tells you that we were too late, but it's better late than never.
Right. So this conversation, of course, about how we're tackling Galamsey would go on. But for now, as I've mentioned, the president says that the tribunal, for those of you who missed out on that story, let me just read a bit of it for you. He said that what the cabinet did was to pass the public tribunals bill so that we will push issues related to illegal mining to the public tribunals. They will adjudicate faster and ensure that justice is seen to be done. If this comes into effect, we will be able to process cases against illegal mining even quicker. So that's what the president has said. We'll wait and see how that goes. You were still watching Good Afternoon Ghana here on Metro TV. Of course, I mentioned that we're doing the 2026 budget. We had to talk about this one, and it's a very important one also. But of course, the budget was read last Thursday. Dr. Kese Atuforsen was on the floor of Parliament and read out what he had put in there as the budget statement. Now, a lot of things. Yesterday, Michael Chibefi was here with me, the MP for New Job in South was here. We talked about a lot of things. He mentioned the VAT. He talked about the allocations to, the sectors that we have in this country, and a lot more other things that have come up. I'll be reading some portions for you. But Dr. Jima, I'm sure you had a lot of time to go through this since last Thursday. Your initial impressions about the budget. I've had people do the ratings. Some say 8 over 10, 9 over 10. Let me put you on and ask you, looking at the budget statement, how would you rate it? Well, if you had to rate it over a 10.
Usually, I don't want to rate it, but if you just to put me on the spot, I would want to do 8.5 or 9.
That means that's very good.
Yes, because you see, for every document, you should be able to compare.
Okay.
And if you are not able to do that, then there's no basis for the rating. I would have usually want to discuss the effectiveness and the efficacy of the budget, but you are putting me on the spot.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that after going through the speech itself, the speech is about 50 pages.
Yeah.
I've read through all of them. I did the main budget, which is about 304 pages. And if you compare, and the comparison I'll do is to the minister's first budget, which was presented on 11th March 2025, you can clearly see the relatability. You can relate it. And that is where sometimes when you get a document and you are going through, you can give an assurance, or the document in itself is a self-assuring document. And that is why I'm giving those bases for the rating. I mean, the minister was fair, humble. If you look at the two budgets, the first budget in 2025 March and then the 2026 budget, you can see clearly that the minister showed a lot of humility. The numbers are telling it. Even when the target that he set for 2025, he overachieved them, but you can see the humility in setting new target and still maintaining low target because he's careful. our economy is very vulnerable. And if you are not careful and you start blowing your own horns, by the time you realize when there is any shock, whether internally or externally, it will just bring everything to a close. So I love the humility part of it in the budget, and maybe we'll discuss it further so that we'll show the areas why I'm saying the budget is very humble, aside the relatability and the self-assuring thing that is giving us on the matters of the economy. So if you should ask me, that is my basis.
That'll be your rating for that.
I'm able to relate it. That is the current budget, which is projecting into 2026 and showing actual performances for 2025. What people don't really discuss is the performance, which is the state of affairs for 2025. And that is what the 2026 budget will tell you before giving projection for 2026.
So just opposing what is happening now
so
to what is set
the
to
actual
happen.
performance versus the budget, it's of the projections and the targets were as presented on 11th March. Looking at the actual performance, I believe that all the strategies has been met, and it's something that we can, applaud the Minister of Finance for showing that humility, because where we have come from, we needed that humility and discipline to be able to achieve the figures we are looking at now.
Right. So the budget was read under the theme resetting for growth, jobs and economic transformation, and these are the points that I'd want us to be to look at: growth, jobs and economic transformation. For the growth, and I'll come to you, Mr. Okansi, for growth, jobs, a lot of jobs that a lot of the youth are looking forward to, and the budget states some of them, especially in trade and agribusiness, and even in education and all other sectors, and also the economic transformation. For this particular government, the key thing is the 24-hour economy, and also the big push agenda that they are looking at. Mr. Okansi, what do you have to say about the growth, providing jobs, and the economic transformation, looking at the key projects that this government wants to embark on?
I'll pick on the jobs arena, and actually let me take this humbling opportunity again to say a big sorry to those young folks who lost their lives in search for jobs. It tells you that yes, we have a gap that has been existing, and we need to close that gap to create jobs for young persons. So may their souls rest in perfect peace. But we have to learn from lessons. Actually, let me also commend the president for moving in to actually show some love. It's important. And the media, you did so wonderful. I mean, you manage emotions. Sometimes, some of these things when it happen, the media sometimes jump in, and then sometimes makes it.
We get a lot of backlash from
exactly. But this time around, the media was focusing on the issues, as in consoling the family, managing, what the president was doing and what the government was doing, calling for a committee to be set up. They're giving direction. So let me give a big salute to the media. Now move to the issue about jobs and the economic growth. The indicators are there. And, like my brother said, you could easily connect what he said from the first budget to the second budget, the flow. That's what we are talking about. So we as observers and analysts, we are looking at where did you leave on issue of A. It connects to A1. And then we are looking at A2, he says he will do. So we'll pick A and A1, which was the outflow from A, and then we connect it to A2, and A3 should be linking and having a sync with A1. So if that flow, and in our local parlance right now, we say show working. You need to, exactly, you need to show us you're working. And let me tell you what, whenever you are doing the right thing, and you are in your right sense and doing the right thing, you are humbled. Because sometimes the outcomes, you worked for it, but when it comes, have you noticed in the classroom, those who get the A, those guys who are used to their A, they make the A's, they don't make noise. They just did it slow, and then they make the grades. And those ones who also get the B plus and B plus C's, they come and bully the rest of us who get the C and B with their grades. They are the lots of a host. This guy is making good inroads. I would say if I was rating him, I'd rate him over here, I'll rate him 85%. So I'm not surprised. It's here. So they said 8.5. And look, but we are on our guard. Yeah. He mentioned a caution that all that he has said, that he had done, the flow will be going to A2 and A3. We'll leave A1 A and A1, not as if it's not significant. It is. We told you cut the size of government, and you did, and we've all reaped from it. So when you've cut the size of government, and then you are reducing Independence Day celebration, I don't expect you to go and bring upon yourself any other expenditure that will bring problem. So drive carefully, stay focused, and the next thing you want to talk about again, as you spoke about was the indicators.
Yes.
Inflation going down, but again, the forex gain positive. But ask yourself, are there going to be some, a negative impact? Yes, because that will bring the influx of foreign goods. Because importers now have to buy things at a little cheaper, and then they'll have to go and get the same goods with the same amount of money, but then the quantity would increase. So they'll come and flood your market with foreign goods.
Yeah.
What is that going to be? You spoke about jobs, you spoke about what? Industrial growth.
Yeah.
That means if that product you are producing here has challenge from external sources, once the dollar loses against the cedi and there's an influx, they'll come and fight your local products,
and also
affecting local production.
And also when people price in the foreign currencies here, and how that is going to fight against, as you're saying.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, even those who even work in companies that pay them in dollars, they'll be hard hit. Remittances,
yes,
and so all of this come into the play and the mix. But at the end of the day, the good thing is that for the goods side, you need to look at maybe showing up the taxes on those imported goods, just a little of it. We were here with my brother Hawengebet, and we were asking him, what is he going to do, to help government? And then he was running away, but I remember myself and the host were just trying to, Anne and the rest were just trying to tell him he should speak to his people to accept also that to protect the local production and industrial drive that we've always been crying for, we think there should be a little rise in the fee on the goods that are coming in, so that those collections should be earmarked directly into local industry.
Okay.
So that it can shore their production muscles up while we are also reducing the influx and then making sure there's a fair balance.
Right.
Yes.
So going through it again, he mentions that for the 2026 fiscal year, we aim to achieve overall GDP growth of at least 4.8%, driven by continued expansion in infrastructure services and agriculture, and adds that non-oil real GDP growth of at least 4.9%, end-of-year inflation of 8.0% to consolidate the progress made in bringing prices under control, and a primary surplus of 1.5% of the GDP. And I also want to add the revenue mobilization and expenditure allocation. That's also very important. The amount of money that you're making and what you're spending says that in 2026, Ghana, so that's for the revenue mobilization, Ghana expects to collect total revenue and grants of 268.1 billion cedis, up from 226.7 billion in 2025, a strong 18.3% increase. And talks about the non-tax revenue. It says there's a projection of 20.9 billion cedis, with 18.2 billion cedis retained by MDAs to sustain essential services. Additional inflows from SNIT transfers and energy sector levies are estimated at 14.4 billion. So a lot of huge amounts being mentioned in there. And on to the expenditure allocation, says Mr. Speaker, total expenditure on commitment basis for 2026 is projected at 302.5 billion, equivalent to 18.9% of GDP, up from 251.7 billion in 2025. Compensation of employees is projected at 90.8 billion cedis, ensuring fair remuneration for public servants, and talks about goods and services to improve efficiency across MDAs. That's 13.2 billion cedis. So it continues with the grants and statutory funds and all of that. Dr. Jima, the amounts being mentioned, sounds huge. There's an upward adjustment in everything. Will we be able to maintain this? Because the argument has also been that, for now we are with the IMF and they are helping us. By next year, when they leave, will we be able to handle things as it's going now?
Well, thank you so much. I believe that, just as I said, the minister is showing that relatability of the 2025 budget to the current one, just as you read those figures. Do you know that in 2025, the budgeted expenditure was 270 billion? In fact, they just went to a total appropriation for about 290 billion. Yes, so see the difference. And then in the 2026 one, look at how much money is asking for, 302 billion. So just oppose it from 278 to, you know, an appropriation figure of 290. And he's just asking for 302 next year. These are estimates. They are not actual transactions. Right. In fact, if you look at the fiscal performance from the fiscal data of the Ministry of Finance, you see the flow of actual performance of revenue against expenditure. And I have the figures here. And you see that the disparity is not too much. What the minister has done that we have also forgotten is that he has created a lot of buffers within the system from 2025 budget. And some of them he did was to make sure that he will uncap GET Fund. Yes. He uncapped Root Fund. He uncapped NHIL. And then also there is the utilization of the tax refund account, which people have forgotten about it. So he actually amended the Revenue Administration Act so that he'll be able to now get some money from the tax refund, reducing the percentage. Now, if you go to GNPC and the likes, something like their net carried and participating interest, he's also moving the percentage back. So it's reduced. So he's taking money from GNPC back into the consolidated fund. Now, he has also moved about 80% of our MEF, that is the Mineral Income Investment Fund, also back to the consolidated fund. And there's a whole lot that he did in the 2025 budget, which suggested that he has created buffer. So when he's touching a particular tax type, he knows why he's touching that tax type, because the buffers are there. And let's not forget that we are still getting inflows. At least we have one major outstanding inflow from the IMF, and that is also money that, you know, is accumulating or accruing to the government. So there are other areas that the minister have created a buffers that he's okay with, and he's very much okay in doing so. Now, if you look at the figures that you were putting out there, so the minister is not really scared about going into 2026, because we're all concerned that, yes, the minister was not spending in 2025. In fact, if you look at arrears that the country or the ministry owes to suppliers and contractors, people were crying for their roads not being provided for. Classical example is, you know, days of Uncle to in Sawam Road that people were talking about it. And he's done something so well, which I still talk about, the relatability, and we're able to trace the connecting dot by making sure that he gave us a report on Owens, for instance. In the 2025 budget, he gave us a clear picture that when they took over, there were certain outstanding liabilities, about 68 billion Ghana cedis owing to the government. And this was a new government that had already taken over affairs of the country. What do they have to do in simple terms? Is to audit the liabilities. And it's taking time to go through all these audits, and then they have validated claims and owings that people, you know, put to government. And now he's come out with the actual owings that the country owes. So what he's just going to do is to pay. He talked about our IPPs, how much we owe to our independent power producers, and then we owe about $1.7 billion. And if you could recall, some of them was as a result of what? The price on the tariffs that they were charging, and we call for a renegotiation of some of these amounts. So once you just go there and you do the renegotiation, which he reported in the 2026 budget as an update that, Mr. Speaker, this is what we have done. And that has also brought a lot of savings to the country. So I'm happy that all this update that the minister has already given us is enough report that we can always discuss it and make sure that it is going to help us going forward. Because if you think about the previous years, even less 2024 to 2025, what was the real risk in the system or in the economy? Our energy sector issues. Within some small period of time, you see we are being threatened by these IPPs. They shut down some of the plant and our lights will go off. In Ghana, we don't want to sleep in doom. So nobody, individuals, households, and businesses, nobody would want to have Dumsor. But look at the year. Even though, yes, people make an argument that there has been an increase in our energy sector levy, which they call it the fuel levy. That is why we plan a country. That is how we build a country. For continuous 7 months now, we have had our lights being kept on. And that is impressive for industry. That is it gives predictability for investors and potential investors to be able to look that when they put their money in the country, they are going to get their returns. And that is the beauty of budgeting. That's the beauty of reporting good figures for our country, so that when the media picks it up, what we don't like is negative speculation. Now look at what we are doing. We are discussing positive speculations, and that is going to drive the economic recovery that we are all talking about. So there are so many things to talk about the budget in the likes of the taxes that I was talking about. Yeah. Maybe I'll come to that within the shortest possible time. Look at the VAT reforms that the minister have done. These are very basic, simple things, smart way of taxing, or even doing our tax system, our tax business. Check the VAT Act 2013 at 870. Effective rate of tax was 15%. Even it used to be 12.5%. What happened? In 2017, 2018, we started seeing an amendment, and we're now cascading levies upon levies and all that. Even in the midst of the difficulties in 2021, when we're receiving all the inflows from, IMF and the World Bank, we still brought in COVID levy. This is something that we could have easily, taken off our books. Yeah. Now he's saying he's decoupling them. He's decoupling NHI, he's decoupling Get Fund, abolished, the almighty COVID. The COVID levy. And now he has already uncapped NHI and Get Fund. Look at the inflows that will go there.
And the Assembly Common Fund as well.
It looks like your rates and how you are explaining, and from what you have read also, you're very, very satisfied.
Oh, you see, when I have followed the minister from his days of vetting, when he was appointed, when he went for vetting, and then his first budget. One thing that I would want to add is that he said something at his vetting that he's going to focus on microeconomics, micro. All that we talked about is the macro. Inflation, GDP, gross international reserves, what have you, exchange rates, interest rates, public debt or total debt. These are the things that we talked about. It's good. But what we haven't done so well is the behavior of people in the country. Now, if you moved inflation rate from 23.4 as at end period December 2024, balance brought forward to January, and now is 8% compared to the previous 2-3 years, 2021, we are almost there. But what has left, or what is left, is that people or businesses have not been able to tune their mindset to what is happening on the macro level. And he started, an engagement, which I like, but it was too late, by visiting the market. The markets too. Yes. If you really want to test the market, you need to move out. In fact, governance and building this country have been elevated by the same citizens. So now there's a lot of things that you have to do. You can't be an armchair finance minister and be in the office and be making payment and be coming to tell us that this is what you are. You need to go to the market. You need to see what is happening. Yes, go to the market. My brother says show working. Go to the market. Let them see, because we don't operate a closed market system, unlike the 80s and the early 90s, when prices are announced by the finance minister and everybody are forced to adjust prices. Now you are dealing about the psyche of the people, the minds of the people. So if you don't go there, have a monitoring team, a task force team, and then chair by yourself, so that you really want to measure actual performance, it is going to take a long time for the market to respond to the macro. So probably he needs to do this thing earlier. Now that he's read his budget, by first quarter 2026, we need to see him in the market and start asking, engaging them. Sometimes it's good you do the engagement with the various groupings, but sometimes go to the market.
Okay, Dr. Jima, just when I was enjoying the conversation.
The time is short.
So, Mr. Okaze, I'm going to give you the next 5 minutes so that you could just put on.
So continuing from where my brother said about the 1 Ghana cedis for Dumsor. Let me tell you what a CDD report indicated that 80% of Ghanaians were ready to pay more taxes only if they knew what we were using the money for. Yeah. You think Ghanaians have forgotten about the 1 cedi? They are okay. That they are seeing fuel prices still below what we used to pay. I personally, the fuel prices got as far as 16. Right. Now it reduced to about 10. Now it's gone to around 12 point something. 12, yeah. So if even it goes to 13, My brother, in economics, like my big brother would know, I mean, as we all discuss, the first effort is to halt the train when it is galloping. Your biggest achievement is to just halt it for us. So if this government had even halted it at the 16, that was a big clap to halt it, because we're tired of paying more. Now, to reverse the trend is a blessing. So what you are seeing, that people are playing politics with it, that is still going up after it's going, look, we are not low minds. Himself and I, we are not low minds. We saw it to 16. So we're calling for a 16 hold on. Hold on, let's not go again. And so if you hold it on and bring it back, you are doing well. So you just encourage the person to do more. And then the next thing to talk about is, like he said, go onto the grounds, monitor and respond to what is going on to the, at the ground level. Let me tell you what, when he went on the ground before this budget he read, that was too late in the day, but it's good, better late than never. But my brother is cautioning that go earlier on and meet with them, early on when you get the figures, and then do something about what they are thinking about. They were the ones even telling him, when there's some people, were some learned persons who had big degrees, professors and doctors, were poo-pooing all the efforts that's been done. It was a market woman who were showing working, that they were buying this gallon. You see, we look down on them, but they are wiser and smarter. You look down on them.
So to get the real...
They gave you the real issues, that this is how they were buying the Kufuor gallon of oil. And this is how they were buying rice. They were giving you the real micro effects of what was going on in the system. They were the ones giving you the feedback. Others were quoting macro figures in 2021, and that was not, I mean, linked to the real life issues, what people were facing. So I think, like he's saying, you see, when we say you engage people, it's not about going there to saying, oh yeah, then we finish the meeting. No. Dialogue must come in phases, and response must be affected so that over the period, by the 6 months' time, you know what they feel and what they are seeing. Now, going forward, cutting down expenditure must still go on. He mentioned that they are going to hold on to purchase of cars, travels. They are going to check travels. They're also going to check allowances. He should do more, like we saw them do for the Independence Day celebration. When the Farmers' Day gets on, we want to see what cuts they are making. Is it that they will still use the same amount, but then they are going to buy boots and cutlasses and machinery for the farmers? We are watching. Plug the loopholes. Look, IFS that we're talking about. Today, Gold Board has come to show all of us that this is what is going on. The lootings, let me tell you one thing. Recouping the losses is one of the biggest efforts that this man is talking about, that they have to look at it. If you and I, our mother was having a company and somebody came to work for us and looted the money, and we hear that he has 3 houses at Airport Hills, and he has another car at his house, the new Land Cruiser, what do? You call the courts to seize it for you. So let's recoup all those money, seize their properties. These are thieves. They're stealing from us. Stop using words like misappropriation, misapplication. This is stealing. They stole the money. They stole with pen. If the guy steals from Seko, you call him a thief, Julo. Somebody has used the pens to ghost names. I mean, to that level of purchasing things. Look, 27 at the Public Account Committee, my heart was bleeding. You mentioned 27 million Ghana cedis for no work done, nothing to show, and payments were made in Ghana. If it was your mother's company, would 20,000 cedis go free? Now let's go forward. About recouping, let's go ahead. And surcharging. One of the efforts he has put in place and laws that he's looking at is surcharging people. Now, I was vindicated when I heard that the ECG had actually recouped, they have improved their collections by 90%. You know what? When we met about the PPP on the ECG, I nearly had a banter with my brother, Kofi Bento. When they were looking at, we had learned our lessons from Aqua Vitron run in the water sector. So I said, don't go there. The only place you can look at it is that let the private person go to the collection point so that they will go and do the collection and also invest their metering systems to go and collect, and then we give them some percentage. We're having that discussion, and I still insisted that it's the same. If you left it in the hands of a private person, it's the same Ghanaians that the person will come and employ to go and do the work. I'm vindicated that with the change of government, that came with change of management, all of a sudden 90% in just less than 1 year. That is the problem we're facing.
Okay.
The next one is to look at the proper PPP.
And that's in 30 seconds.
I think government should properly focus PPPs. Like for the education side, the A+ schools, they are available. People would like to go and build schools there. So why don't we go on the BOT with some construction companies to do the schools and then the boarding facilities for the government, so that government can release itself of the stress, financial stress, and then also ensure that they do all these things. But let's document all these things and then have a discussion. You, the media, and the CSOs. Moving forward, finally, let me tell you what. I think Atu is doing well. We congratulate him. But our very, very good call to him is that keep focus, do the right thing. Those of us who were calling for sizing government, when you size, they will clap for you. Don't come tomorrow and come and add any other expenditure. And plug all the holes for corruption.
So that's a plea from Jeffrey Okanse. He's Executive Director for Revenue Mobilization Africa, and also here from Dr. Julius Jima, Executive Director for the Center for Policy and Economic Analysis. We're talking about the 2026 budget statement. It's been amazing. Thank you so much. My name is Desmond Okrekudan, so we'll catch you later. Bye.
West Africa's soil yields global treasures. Cocoa, cashew, shea, and cotton. They power industries across the world. Yet for our region, the greatest value still slips away, exported raw, taking with it jobs, industries, and the promise of shared prosperity. The real question is no longer what we produce, but who captures the final reward. True prosperity lies in the value we add right here at home. That's why the 4th edition of the EBIT President's Roundtable will gather the architects of Africa's prosperity and Africa's transformation to answer one defining question: how do we finance the journey from the farm to the port? Join Dr. George Ejikum Donko and some leading experts as EBIT leads a high-level dialogue to unlock financing, empower local industries, and turn West Africa's raw potential into industrial power. Be part of the conversation redefining our economic future, live on Metro TV, DSTV Channel 277, and EBIT platforms on November 24, 2025 at 11 a.m. EBIT President's Roundtable 2025. From the farm to the port, financing the value chains of West Africa's cash crops. My name is Anita Erskine, and it will be an honor to host you.